Hello everybody, welcome to another Sunday Funday, and I know it doesn't say Sonic the Hedgehog, and I'm going to explain that real quick. It's not because, we ended up becoming busy or anything, and we being me, because unfortunately Megan just wasn't able to go along with me, and also see the movie, of course, that I did watch. The actual problem here actually deals with everybody wanting to see Sonic. Sonic seemed to, I guess, in the theaters near me, it seemed to be like everybody was like, oh, we just really want to go see Sonic. Which is cool. I know Sonic has a pretty big fan base, pretty die-hard fan base at that. And there were no seats. For some reason, I kind of underestimated how big Sonic was going to be a draw. I mean, as the headlines have read, it's like Sonic has made like more money than Pokemon did, or Detective Pikachu did, I should say. And that's fantastic for the genre, because that means maybe we'll get some good video game movies. Because from what I've heard, Sonic's decent at the very worst and good at the very best. So hey, maybe. And no, the theaters were all full, or like, oh, I can get like one seat, but I usually always have at least one other person come with me, and it's like, okay, I can have one seat, and then the other person gets to sit out in the lobby. It just nowhere near me was playing it in a decent time frame or anywhere I could have seen it worth the shit. So I was like, eh. So what I'm going to do, since next week was going to be a little harem scarum anyway, I'll have Sonic for y'all next week. Sound like a fair deal? Y'all can see. Y'all probably gonna watch it all again next week. In fact, I think I wouldn't be surprised if it expands a few theaters next week, knowing just how well it did this weekend compared to all the estimates. I think the original estimates were shooting in probably the lower, like 30 millions, and said it just blasted past that. But I'm here to talk about a movie that, yes, technically did get its wide release this year. I know my way on how I review movies is very funky in what I consider a movie that came out in 2020 or 2019. It's strange because originally the idea was for us to watch this movie last year. And of course that didn't happen because the theater around me was not playing it. And originally that's how IMDb even had its original release, was October of last year. And I learned that was all like limited releases and has never got a wide release. So I'm here to bring you my thoughts on Jay and Silent Bob Reboot.
Love can make you a dad.
How you gonna talk about love and you flinging cum all over the place? That shit's unseemly, bro.
What do you guys think about this reboot?
It sucks. There, I said it. And who's directing this shit anyway? Kevin fucking Smith?
Smells like this reboot went up in smoke.
Now, quickly I have to give my opinions on Kevin Smith, because that's pretty much the reason why this movie exists. It's a Kevin Smith movie, written by Kevin Smith, everything. And I have to say, I actually really like a lot of his movies. I saw Clerks well after I saw Clerks 2. It was actually because of Mallrats that I actually decided to start getting into more of Kevin Smith's films. Jason Amy's alright. I'm not the biggest fan of it, but I get the fans who enjoy it. Jersey Girl, less said about it, and same with Cop Out. I actually really fucking dig Zack and Miri Make a Porno. It's very funny to me. Clerks 2 is also full of heart and actually has a lot of really good laughs. And then there's also, of course, the movie that came before this, Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. That movie was actually one of the better earlier comedies I ever watched. It's a stoner film, no doubt, but it felt like it was the new version, for lack of a better way to put it, of Up in Smoke. Just weird, random things tend to happen around these two stoners, and hijinks ensued the entire way. It's not the most original premise, but to be fair, no stoner film is super original premise except for maybe Harold and Kumar, a Harold and Kumar Christmas. It's called a very Harold and Kumar Christmas. Mind you, I actually really like the Harold and Kumar movies. Even though the second one I think is probably not really that great. At least compared to the first and third one. But the first and third one's actually really damn funny. But yeah, I actually really enjoyed the hell out of Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. I thought it was really funny. There were some really original jokes. There were some good callbacks to some of its other movies. The one movie I'm missing, the kind of black sheep, or technically two of the black sheeps, I guess in a way. One, the black and white Clerks. I watched Clerks after I've watched most of Kevin Smith's other movies. It's fine. There are some funny bits, but a lot of it is just... You can tell this was his first movie. You can tell a lot of it was, this is his first attempt at doing something. And then, of course, with Dogma, the big other one I need to talk, or need to say something about. Dogma it's one of my favorite comedies. It's actually one of the few that actually tackles belief and religion at the same time, but it doesn't try to say you need to think this way. At best, it tries to say it's better to, in fact, even Chris Rock straight up just says it's it's better to have ideas, and than try and say you have to think this certain way. That's actually a really positive message. And people can protest all they want, but this is what it is, people. Let's quit, acting like religion is the be-all, end-all. My quick, uninformed take. So, about Jay and Silent Bob Reboot. Now, very much like Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, this is it's a gathering of all of Kevin Smith's best friends and his daughter, of course. Oh, and I would also be remiss, I've talked before about yoga hosers, and the less said about that, the better. Ugh. But I have always had more of a love than I have hated any Kevin Smith films. In fact, the only one I could say I absolutely I detested for the most part, was Yoga Hosers, which seemed to be an attempt by Kevin Smith to try and get his daughter Harley a leading role in all essence. Very nepotistic of him. Thank you, Kevin. We need more of that. But trying to get her pretty much like a leading role in a big film, even though it's being led by her dad, so it's kind of weird. And tried to be really felt like it was trying to be a trauma film. It missed a lot of Trauma's better parts. And for lack of a better way to put it, that's kind of how Jay and Silent Bob Reboot feels. To kind of explain this, those who have never watched a Trauma movie or don't quite understand what I'm meaning. So Trauma always had a feel of cheapness. It always feels like the sets are very bare. Pretty much what is there is what happened to be in this house that they were filming at. Or what was here it just happened to be because it was. Here in Jay and Silent Bob Reboot, first off, it tries to tackle the whole idea of rebooting or remaking things. Okay, that's cool. But it always seems to want to straddle the line of really doing that and being an actual sequel to Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. Now, because of that, there are a few jokes that I will say I genuinely did laugh at. There's a few legitimate funny parts. Some of the actual, where Jay is finally being a bit aware of things. Okay, that's actually kind of funny. He even calls out, are y'all... Because the basic premise of this is Jay and Silent Bob get their names revoked by Saban films, there's actually a little bit of a joke there about the fact, it's like, oh, are they the ones who did, Power Rangers? Stuff like that. It's like, okay, that joke's kind of cute. I kind of giggled at that one. And I was like, okay, that one's kind of funny. The joke kind of goes a little long, and I'm like, okay, guys, come on, wrap it up. This joke was good for a punchline, not 13. And they also have, again, more callbacks to other Kevin Smith films in the fact that they have, what's his name? I can't remember his name. He's very rarely in anything. Justin Long. There we go. Sorry. He is in it, playing the same character from Zack and Miri Make a Porno, though it's more subdued. Where Justin Long and Zack and Miri Make a Porno, he's very out there with his, not just the fact that he's gay, but also very forward with his want of sex, for lack of a better way to put it. Like, him and Brendan Routh have just some of the funniest lines together, just because Justin Long is doing his best in those scenes in Zack and Miri Make a Porno to make Brendan Routh laugh, or make Kevin Smith laugh, whoever, to make them want to chuckle first. Well, here it's a bit more subdued, so it's like, okay, it doesn't feel quite as good as it should, but there's still a few laughs. But pretty much he's a representative of Saban Films, who actually did make this movie, or at least I think helped distribute it. But yeah, they decide to, we signed their names, and that's because they're making a Bluntman v. Chronic movie. And pretty much they're trying to, Jay and Silent Bob have to try and stop it. Again, it's a reboot, and they're kind of talking about, it's like, oh, we're just rebooting the same thing, we're just remaking it, and all this. There's winks and nods to the camera, like somewhere from the first movie. But the movie feels cheap, for lack of a better way to put it. There is a lot of... First off, the movie obviously is not shot on film. Not that usually should be a make or break thing for a movie. But having watched so many other movies that were obviously filmed with almost no budget, they were filmed with a digital camera similar to what I am using, you can see that it just doesn't look right. Everything always has this cheapness to it. And only that, with it such a obviously small crew, the shots they take are very, very stilted, is the best way to put it. Like, there's a lot of just like this. It's just somebody talking straight into a camera. And then we will have the good old-fashioned cut over. Hey, now we'll have this person. And that means there's longer takes of people just in there jack-jawing and saying a joke or anything like that. Pardon me. Instead of good, like, constant, like... The best way to put it is, like, the camera felt like it constantly would be able to move around. It felt a lot more free in Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. It's not the most innovative... Sorry, I was sure about to say inventing. It's not the most innovative way of filmmaking, or at least how it looked. But it never felt like the camera was constantly stuck in the middle of the ground and there was no way to move it. And on top of everything, because it's constantly retreading a lot of similar jokes, a lot of similar ideas from, hell, I would say even like better movies. Like at one point, while they're on their road trip to, where is it? When they were trying to go to Hollywood, instead of in the first movie where there constantly were a little bit of distractions here and there until we got to the big part, which is where he comes across Justice and Elisha Dushku and all them, and or Eliza Ducky. A little behind the scenes thing from the original one. Instead of all of that, kind of little things, there's maybe a couple little like, oh hey, we're gonna have this little distraction real quick. But it feels like it's almost jokes that are ripped from other movies, which feels not Kevin Smith. And I don't mean like ripped from our Kevin Smith movies. Like there's even a callback to Dogma here, which the joke is literally just Matt Damon shows up as Loki, and he kind of makes a little joke about the fact, like, hey, I'm Loki. Not from the Avengers movies and all this and that. You know, I don't have a fake British accent. Okay, it's kind of funny, but it would have been funnier if it would have been an acknowledgement of Thor Ragnarok. That would have been really damn funny there. And he pretty much is explaining, you know, hey, here's what's happening. It would be one thing if he was, like, narrating the movie, but it's literally just him kind of making a joke. It's like, I was dropped off in the Mediterranean Sea, didn't have any idea of who it was. I had to be born with a new identity. It's like, okay, I got it when you began the joke. And it would have been one thing if it was just that. It's like, I guess I had to be born with a new identity. And it was just this, and literally it was just that. But he has to go the entire spiel of the Bourne franchise, at least the first three, because I guess Kevin Smith never saw the other two. Well, to be fair, the fifth one kind of blew. Fourth one wasn't great. It was okay, but it also didn't have Matt Damon in it. Sorry, Matt Damon. It's the only thing I can think of. Sorry, Team America, for you. But yeah, it's like that kind of little callback to him. It's random to the point where it's like, okay, well, why is this here? In this fact, during the credits, they show a lot of what they cut out of the movie or anything like that, and it's like, okay, so why did this get cut for, you know, this other reason? It's like the movie is with the ending stuff. It's an hour and 45 minutes. Like, okay, so why don't you just leave it? The movie wouldn't have been super long in the tooth to begin with. And again, it felt like a waste of Matt Damon in the fact, it's like, okay, well, why'd you even bring him in here? Why not just do sort of like what you did with the first movie, which was actually really damn funny, which is where they ended up pricking in on the set of Good Will Hunting 2, who Ben Affleck and Matt Damon really acting it up. And that was really fucking hilarious. And, like, Ben Affleck shows back up as his character of Holdy, I believe is his name. Which, hey, that's cool. He seems... And, of course, there's a Batman joke and everything. It's like, okay, got it. But, thankfully, never... And pretty much he gives the idea of the entire resolution for the film. Because the whole hold-up throughout the entire movie is Jay learns he has a daughter through Justice, of course. And it turns out Justice is actually, now she's married to a woman who's Rosario Dawson, because I need a small callback to Clerks 2. Though, it's like, okay, well, if they're outside the, you know, convenience store, that was what they were doing at the end of Clerks 2. So it's weird how the movie kind of doesn't mesh well sometimes with the universe it created. And on top of everything, it's just, there's a lot of Harley in this. Oh, God, Harley Quinn Smith. She is better than she was in Yoga Hosers, but it's not a huge compliment. It's kind of a backhanded compliment. It's like, you're better than you were. Also, I'm good. You were better than you were. She's still very, like, when she needs to be emotional, she can actually almost pull off emotional stuff. But whenever she needs to tell jokes, she, for some reason, needs to talk like this, and it's a joke. It's weird. It's off. It sounds like it's trying to be a Canadian joke. I don't know what it's supposed to be. It's like somebody who's taking their role way too fucking seriously and doesn't quite understand the tone they should have. Like, Shannon Elizabeth, for what little she is on screen, you know, and that's the other sad part. It's like, I really love Shannon Elizabeth. How she is still looking this gorgeous as she does. Like, I want to say she's over 40. Not saying a woman should look terrible when she hits 40, but it's like she still looks just as beautiful as she did back in the early 2000s. Like, damn, woman, I look like shit compared to what I looked like in the early 2000s, which is secret. Like, I don't get why it's like why we had to have she's able to pull off. Mind you, Shannon's never really been in anything in a while. Like she's done odd here and there TV appearances, but other than nothing really since her early occurrences in the early 2000s. But she's still got her acting job. She's still able to portray a little bit of naivete, but also, well, she's able to still be somewhat smart. And it's kind of funny the reason why she's still willing to accept the fact that, yeah, Jay's big thing is sex, but he still does actually care about her. But I don't know how else to put this. It's just Harley just never syncs with the rest of everything. Also, it doesn't help they've made Jay really, really dumb. He's always been dumb, but it's similar to the Family Guy issue. Like, he has become a dumb black hole. Yeah, he never was the brightest bulb in the chandelier. He did a lot of stupid crap, but it never felt like it. Like, for longest, they kept making jokes about the fact that they're going to go beat up Kevin Smith, and then they start calling him Kevin James, and then there's Kevin James jokes, and he constantly keeps calling him Kevin James until near the end when they say, well, it's actually fucking Kevin Smith. And it's like, was that a joke? Was I missing that? Because I wasn't laughing at it. It wasn't funny. It's just like, look, Kevin Smith's name's near Kevin James' name. Whack, wacka. I don't know. But this seems really kind of scatterbrained in terms of thinking about the movie. It's simply because the movie itself is very scatterbrained. Like, it tries to have the road trip kind of element similar to like the first one, where it kind of go around to different places and shenanigans in all essence. But here, the shenanigans really stopped very early. Like, shenanigans pretty much led up to, and were still part of the third act for Jay and Silent Bob. And also were part of Act 1. Here, Act 1 feels really, really, really long. Like, it feels like the movie takes a while to really fucking start moving. We have to have this whole big long spiel where how they got this guy's credit card and everything. And only that, but we have to have every joke when it comes to Silent Bob actually talking. Instead of him still kind of pantomiming, he pantomimes a little, but instead he has to, and it's just to show an emoji, a single emoji. And it's like, why? Why not just... and then just shows an emoji? That would have been a lot more effective. Instead, it's only 5, maybe 10 seconds for each time he does that, but he does it quite a bit in the movie, and it takes a bit away from each scene. It's like, we have to wait for this pantomime of putting in an emoji. I don't know about you, Kevin Smith, but for me to pull up an emoji, it doesn't take all that long. I may be a little younger than you, but I'm still from near the same generation as you. It doesn't take me 45 minutes to pull up a goddamn emoji. I don't know, it's just... every time that happened, I was like, okay, I get it. He's going to do an emoji, and it's going to be kind of weird. And I do like there's a callback to his wife. She's actually in the movie. Like, at one point, he's trying to order something, and he... of course, doing the thing. And that one's a lot longer than the rest of them. It's like, oh my god, it's going to spit stop real quickly. And he shows the lady, it's like, it looks like an eggplant and it has a question mark because he's supposed to be vegan and everything. Kind of making jokes about his own fact that he went vegan to help trim down weight. And it's funny because his wife is the manager, because there's one lady who's overacting like crazy. And she's like, me. Like, she's just super hamming it in. And it's like, okay, this is really not fun. And she's freaking out because it's like, you're asking for one to show me your dick. Nah. And her manager's his wife, and she pulls him aside and fucks him because she was wanting him to. Because she's like, you want to show me your dick, all right? It's kind of funny. That part's kind of funny. But yeah, just like with Harley, the fact that her acting is... it ranges from when she needs to be emotional, it's okay. So it's okay to the worst thing ever, and it detracts a lot from scenes. And she's a lot in scenes, and that's another unfortunately bad part. And the whole movie just boils down to it's like Jay's needing to come to grips with the fact he needs to try and be a better father. And there is some decent comedy that can happen from that. Like he tries to be concerned for her, he tries to actually look out for her. Like he even tries to get on to her the fact she's smoking weed and crap. That would be, pretty damn funny. And except for they kind of just let the joke go for a good chunk of it. Yeah, I don't know how else to put this. Just the movie just doesn't work. It always feels like it's just what the first movie a lot of hardcore critics tried to call it, which was a pandering to Kevin Smith fans. Here, it feels less like a pandering to Kevin Smith fans, and it feels like it's a pandering to Kevin Smith. It's, for lack of a better way to put it, it's just an ego trip throughout the entire filmography that he has had, with the exception of a few call-outs to movies that he kind of wants to avoid, which I guess are Tusk and, of course, Cop Out. Sorry, blank there. And it's like, other than that, he feels, pardon me, it feels like he's just constantly wanting to only talk about the movies he loved, talk about movies he really enjoyed working on, and everything like that. It's bizarre is a nice way to think of it. And it just never fires together. Nothing ever seems to really sync up real well. It constantly feels like the jokes seem to be almost at odds with the tone that is going on. And the more or the less I could say about the very, very almost amateurish way in which it shoots the entire film, the better. Because, like I said, I shoot this like this because it's just me. Like, if I turn this camera around, there's nobody there. If there is, I'm freaking the fuck out and jumping out my window. Because I don't see anybody. But that's how blank it feels. It feels like always the cinematography is so weak, so poorly done. There's no attempt at trying to do anything that resembles a movie. It feels almost like a home movie that happened to become a Jay and Silent Bob film. And then on top of everything, because of that cheapness, it just oozes all of its laziness. It's like this movie felt very lazy. And I get that that the original Jay and Silent Bob, it kind of was a lazy film. It was more callbacks than anything, but also it did have a genuine plot line that was going throughout it that helped to keep it together. And not only that, but it never had moments where I just sat there and was actively bored. Like the entire fight between Mark Hamill and Jay, and also with and also with Silent Bob beforehand, where they have the little lightsaber duel, that one was actually kind of funny to me. And not only that, but it's like, okay, well, we're going to show, this happening. It's just kind of the goofy things. Instead, here, we need to have a complete and utter distraction from the movie that we are watching, so we can watch the Blunt Man v. Chronic movie, so we can have Val Kilmer playing Kevin Smith, and it's super, super fucking fat Val Kilmer. Like, it looks like they had to stuff his ass in his suit. Like, it looks like he would outweigh me by a good 400 pounds. Like, holy shit, how'd you make Val Kilmer look fatter than he is? That is magic there, man. Not a good one. And then he is having this text off with, his Chronic, who is now played by the lady who plays Kara from Supergirl film, or Supergirl show, not film, no. Oh, that'd be horrible. And then we have to have a random showing of Alfred, who It could have been a nice, just one-off joke, because it's Chong. I can't remember his first name. I'm very sorry. From Cheech and Chong fame. Cheech Marin, Tommy Chong. There we go. Sorry, I was like, what is this? His first name's simple. It's like a T. Yeah, as Tommy Chong is Alfred, I'm like, okay, that would have been funny. But it lingers on him just saying asinine stoner things. And it's like, okay, I fucking get it. It's like, it's not that funny, first off. And on top of that, it sounds exactly like a person whose brain is rotting from all the THC and everything. And is unable to fully think outside of the weed, man. And that's the whole shtick for like 5 fucking minutes. And also their little like jokes they want to throw. This whole sequence is like 10, nearly 15 minutes long. It's almost as long as the original fight that actually happened between, Mark Hamill and all the other guys. But it's not action-packed. It's just a guy talking. And again, it's a super static shot. There's no changes in angles. There's nothing. It just sits there. And it's like, oh my God. Can somebody yell fucking cut? And that's constantly what I feel throughout this entire movie. I'm like, cut this. This isn't good. This isn't funny. This isn't even mildly interesting. Oh, fuck me. This movie is so goddamn boring. That is the biggest sin a comedy can ever be. Like, I don't mind a comedy being gross. I don't mind a comedy being a bit stupid. But do not be obnoxiously boring. Because that's the biggest hurdle this movie never overcomes. Is the fact that it just never kicks anything into higher gear. I don't mind Kevin Smith filleting himself a bit in this instance. There's a big difference between him and Quentin Tarantino doing it. Tarantino will have a scene that will completely detract from the rest of his entire movies at times and will waste your goddamn time. Inglourious Basterds is one of the prime examples of this, of a character talking about movies because Quentin Tarantino loves to talk about movies, so he has to shove it into his own movie so we can detract from the fucking plot. Here, I don't mind it as much, but there's points to where it's like these random ass callbacks. The Matt Damon shtick. There's a point, there's a KKK group, and it feels exactly like Harold and Kumar Escape Guantanamo Bay, except for the way they get away from them is different. The only funny thing is that Chris Jericho's in it. And this is arguably the worst thing that Chris Jericho's ever been outside of Fozzy. Sorry, I actually kind of like a Fozzy song or two. Even though Chris Jericho's voice is not the greatest. He can do a good scream sometimes. But just constantly, this movie feels like it wastes my time. I got a few chuckles, I will give it that, out of many other comedies. I found myself chuckling here and there. I found myself almost wanting to guffaw at one joke. I was like, okay, that one's actually kind of really damn clever. Like, the idea that whenever Jay sees Justice again, because in the original movie he saw her and it was playing Bad Medicine and everything, there's this like whole like little montage, and then it kind of showed that he's just kind of been pantomiming some of the stuff that's been happening. And he has this giant heart on. Though I still like, one of the funniest things is the fact that whenever, to muffle the music, when Bob puts the cup over Jay's dick, it muffles the song, and it's really funny. Oh, and to speak about songs and speak about music, this movie uses a lot of music, which is fine. I don't have any problems with it. But where in the first one, the music never became a character unto itself, here, maybe it's because I'm listening to it through headphones or anything, because I watched it, I was like, okay, I'm going to have headphones, I can hear it real well, I don't have to bug everybody in my damn household and everything. Watch my movie. It's loud, it's very, pardon me, there's a lot of music that almost as over characters talking at points. It's amateurish to the point to where it doesn't seem to understand what it really wants to do. And again, that's a big sin. You can't sit there and have a movie that has so little idea of how it wants to portray things, how it really wants its movie to go forward, and you're going to have just straight up, you're going to have music over parts of dialogue. There are parts I had to rewind. I'm like, okay, I didn't catch what a character said there because the fucking music's so loud. And it's like, okay, I know that was kind of sort of a thing that Kevin Smith did in Clerks 2, a bit of Mallrats, and some from the original Jay and Silent Bob movie, but this feels almost egregious. Like, this is a purposeful choice, and we're fine with the fact that we're really fucking up right here, because this is a fuck up that you would cover up. Ugh, fuck this movie. I cannot recommend this to anybody. It's not a good stoner flick. The jokes throughout it, they feel always really at odds with the situations that are happening. There are times the movie does try to have some heart, and I will give it that. Its heart is not terrible. It's in a good place, and I would like it more. Just, it's bad that you have Jay doing his normal shtick, which is fine. That's okay. I am fine with him doing his same shtick that he's done for years, except for they've made him a little stupider to the point where it's like, okay, kind of grates. It's like, why do we make him so stupid? He's stupid to a fault. Or actually, he used to be stupid to a fault. Now he's stupid to just be stupider. And it's just fucking annoying after a while. And it sucks, guys. It's bad. If you want to watch a good stoner flick, watch Up in Smoke. Hell, watch some of the Up in Smoke sequels that aren't really that great. They kind of repeat some of the same jokes, too. Watch Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. Watch Clerks 2. If you want to watch kind of a slacker kind of film or anything. Go and watch Harold and Kumar. Watch any of those three movies. And that's actually kind of the bad thing, is you kind of realize that Kevin Smith's kind of been resting on his laurels. Not just in the fact that he has not progressed as a director. It's like there's some stuff that he does. But there's a lot that he does from way back when that he should have moved beyond that. And he hasn't. And it makes for a detrimentally hard to watch movie at times. That's a sad part of it all. So, my final grade for the entire flick, I can't say it's the worst thing I've seen this year. It's not close to being the worst thing. But it is a 2. It doesn't try anywhere near hard enough. You can see the cheapness of the movie. There's many times I was getting like, okay, how static these shots were and how bad the acting was. I was getting Room vibes. And that's the thing. It's like, okay, Kevin Smith movies, even if the acting was not great, it always just felt like a B movie. In fact, that was kind of some of the idea I got from most of the other actors who were not the lead twos from Yoga Hosts. It's like, okay, they're trying to make this like a B movie. All right, cool, I can get behind some of this. And then, of course, Arlie made me want to stab myself in the eyeballs. Here, constantly, this feels like, with how they're acting, I almost expect them to be like, I am acting because it's a Kevin Smith movie, wink. It felt self-indulgent to the point where I don't think Kevin Smith understood what he really wanted to do. And instead of doing just kind of a slacker movie, it's like, hey, I have these random kind of points I would like to put in a movie. Let me put a cohesive story. It's like, oh, well, let me write this slacker movie, but instead of trying to get these disparate elements to work together, I wrote disparate elements within a movie that was itself a disparate element. ain't fucking miss it. Even if you're a hardcore Kevin Smith fan, you've watched most, if not all, of his films, you're gonna be really disappointed with this. It's not worth your time. It's easily his weakest of his Jay and Silent Bob films, and it just made me sad, guys. It made me real sad because it kind of enforced the idea that we are never going to get a good Clerks 3. We're not going to get another good Kevin Smith movie. And that's just the sad, sad part of it all. This is proof that just Kevin Smith, he's kind of done. And I'm fine with that. It's the reason why I get why people were like, oh, quit and end on a high note, you know. Don't start making bad movies. Even though I would say Once Upon a Time in Hollywood was fucking fantastic. One of his best movies. Next is Django Unchained. But that was also a hard act to follow. But he still did an admirable job. So yeah, just miss this movie. You have better ways to waste your time. Go hook your nuts up to a car battery or fucking clit. Do whatever you want. Just don't fucking watch this movie. It is almost torture. Almost. There's just those few bright spots, but not enough to save you from just... I mean, the entire time watching the movie was just, oh my god, this movie's not really good. I heard a lot I was not laughing at, and I was just, I'm bored. But hey, done with it. So, I definitely will be back next week, though, with the Sonic the Hedgehog review. I might sneak something else in. I'll see how I feel tomorrow, because I've been kind of, you can hear my throat out the entire, if you've been kind of getting under the wire, but I'm going to see how everything is. I might sneak something else in for you all. But hey, until then, I'll see you all next week, or maybe later. So until then, bye-bye, everybody.